Hello, how are you? Today I'm going to talk to you about the consumption of apple cider vinegar and its correlation with gut health. A lot of people have asked me to make this video and want to know whether consuming apple cider vinegar improves or worsens intestinal function and how to consume it safely. You're going to love this video. Stay with me until the end. You won't want to miss it. If you love tips on nutrition, health, and fitness, you're going to love this channel, so go ahead and subscribe. Remember to turn on the notification bell to get updates. I post new videos every day and you're going to love them. Let's start talking more about this topic of apple cider vinegar and our gut health. The first major benefit when it comes to consuming apple cider vinegar and our gut health is that apple cider vinegar can help you improve insulin secretion and sensitivity. I've already talked about this in other videos, explaining how apple cider vinegar can help control blood sugar levels and even aid in weight loss. But few people know that this can also have a positive impact on our gut. Since it has this ability to improve insulin sensitivity and prevent hyperglycemia, we know that insulin spikes are closely related to increased inflammation in our bodies, and reducing inflammation in the body also reduces intestinal inflammation. So, apple cider vinegar can help in this way to reduce intestinal inflammation by helping to better control glucose metabolism and prevent insulin spikes that could trigger this problem. Another really cool effect that apple cider vinegar can have on our gut is the fact that it is a probiotic food. Vinegar is produced from cider, which is made from apple juice that has been naturally fermented and then turned into vinegar. So, it ends up being a fermented food, specifically a probiotic food. But this only applies when you're talking about organic, unpasteurized, and unfiltered apple cider vinegar. If you buy apple cider vinegar of this quality, you can expect it to have a probiotic effect. If you buy an apple cider vinegar that has been industrially pasteurized, sometimes this pasteurization is done precisely to prevent the growth of bacteria and to increase the vinegar's shelf life. It won't have this probiotic effect, but it still has other interesting health benefits, which I'll mention here. If this is important to you, if you want to rely on it as a source of probiotics, pay attention to this detail on the label. Apple cider vinegar can also help improve our gut flora of beneficial bacteria and yeasts because it helps promote the growth of good bacteria in our intestines. We know that there are some things we consume that increase the growth of bad bacteria. For example, white refined sugar increases the growth of harmful bacteria. They love it, they thrive on it, and the more sugar we consume, the more they grow. Apple cider vinegar, on the other hand, can promote the growth of beneficial bacteria for us to the detriment of the harmful ones, and this improves the gut microbiome, leading to reduced inflammation and better overall intestinal function. Remember that if you use unpasteurized, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, it will also be a source of probiotics, which will bring even more beneficial bacteria to your gut, further improving this aspect. If intestinal dysbiosis is an issue for you, if you're concerned about it, since I'm talking about probiotics here, remember that I have a video on the channel explaining more about what dysbiosis is, this imbalance of the gut flora, how to improve it through diet, and a playlist of probiotics you can make at home, like kefir, sauerkraut, and several other examples, both vegan and non-vegan. I'll leave the link down below in the description for you. Another very interesting detail is that apple cider vinegar can help with the digestion process precisely because it is acidic and stimulates more acid secretion in our body, especially in our stomach, of course. So this can help the digestive process, and by helping the stomach's digestive process, it can impact your intestinal health. Because we know that when foods aren't broken down well in our stomach, they end up taking longer to be processed in the intestine and ferment more, staying there longer, which can cause more gas, bloating, and even intestinal imbalance. And if you have a stomach that works well, if you chew your food properly, breaking it down into a good size before swallowing, when it reaches the stomach, the food is ready for beneficial acid to be secreted to break down peptides and everything else. When it reaches the intestine, the whole digestive process works better. So improving the quality of your stomach contents, the stomach acidity to a pH that is ideal for it, also results in improvements in your intestine. Another interesting point is that we've already seen that apple cider vinegar can help you with weight control, as I mentioned before, the very first thing I said. It can also help control blood sugar levels, insulin secretion, and the accumulation of central, visceral, abdominal fat. And we know that people who are overweight have a greater tendency to experience widespread inflammation and intestinal inflammation. And that people who begin to eat healthier, more nutritious foods reach the ideal weight for their height, a healthy weight. Because more important than aesthetics is health itself. This can help reduce inflammation, not only in the body but also in the gut, in a broader sense. So one thing is always connected to another. It's worth emphasizing that apple cider vinegar should be consumed with caution and moderation. Just because a food is good for you doesn't mean we should consume it in excess. Always remember that we need to know how to dose this in our daily routine, because apple cider vinegar is an extremely acidic food, and we need to know how to consume it the right way. Ideally, if you choose to consume apple cider vinegar in water, you should use a cup of water, a very large glass, for 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Dilute it and preferably consume it along with a large meal, to avoid gastric problems, reflux, or any kind of discomfort in that sense. In other words, never take apple cider vinegar on an empty stomach if you already have gastritis, if you already have esophageal reflux, or if you have any gastric sensitivity. Be careful with your tooth enamel as well. Ideally, you should drink it with a straw or rinse your mouth after consuming the vinegar to remove the excess acid from your mouth, so you don't demineralize your teeth. This is another very important point as well. Also remember that apple cider vinegar doesn't have to be consumed only with water. As I mentioned, you can use it to season your food, chicken. It also goes well with vegetables, with fish. It's great on salads and works well in sauces. So always remember that vinegar is super versatile. You don't have to just think about consuming apple cider vinegar with water. If you have issues with gastric sensitivity or even dental sensitivity, use it as a seasoning, which will probably be a better way for you. Replace your regular vinegar with apple cider vinegar to get these benefits. Remember that I have an anti-inflammatory diet playlist down below, which can help with your gut health. There's also a playlist of laxative recipes that help with gut health, and there's a playlist about digestion and a healthy gut, with lots of great tips that you'll love. I'll leave all of this down below in the description for you. Tell me, which type of vinegar do you usually consume on a daily basis? Is it apple cider, wine vinegar, or some other specific kind? White wine? Red wine? There are so many different kinds of vinegar. Which one do you use the most? I'd love to see your comment. Remember to like the video because that really helps me out, and share it with anyone who might enjoy it or needs it. Let's spread this chain of good together. That's what I want here on the channel. See you next time. Bye!